extremist, and I don't know what New Zealanders threaten people with.
Hey, it's me, Zelig-Shaine. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for loving my Gangle cosplay, especially in YouTube. I think the algorithm itself just decided to push my Gangle stuff because it's the amazing digital circus and it's trendy. But like, so many people seem to really love my TikToks and just my costume too. And um, so much so that shout out to Ali Catjaws who commented saying, I am obsessed with how you did the classic Gangle with the 3D arms and ribbons. I would love to see I would love to see a how to make it yourself if you are able to. Regardless, wonderful cosplays. Thank you so much. Um, and but as I've replied to this comment, I've only took a few pictures for documentation. I just never thought people would be curious on how I make my costumes. But I will try my best to explain things and hopefully you would understand. Also, I get nervous with recording anything. That's why I just don't really do those fancy TikTok progress videos. But yeah, I will try to explain. That's why I'm doing this slideshow format because I've only had pictures for documentation when I made the Gaggle costume. But I'll also include a video in in the end on showing how to wear the costume and like the little details that would help recreate this if you so want to. Because I mean, it's a cool costume. I would love to see others do it too. So here we go. So this is my concept art, and of course the reference. Gaggle is my favorite character because she's just like me for real, except I've never worked in a fast food chain. I mean, I've considered it, not gonna lie, but I do have an art degree, so I'm trying to pursue art as a career, but you know how hard it is these days, especially these days. Ugh. But look where I am now, thriving in cosplay hobby as a hobby at least. And I've met a lot of cool friends. So there's still hope for human art. So anyways, as you can see in my concept art, I really planned from the beginning to do like a hoop skirt illusion so that it would look like the ribbons are floating around the body. I also wanted to have the arms around floating around the neck, but as you could see in the final, it's not perfect, but it was pretty darn close, so I'm pretty satisfied with how that turned out. I tested it out on paper on what pattern I would do the fabric. So I tested it out on two different ways. There was like the straight path, the straight line version, and then there's the spiral pattern. And as you can see, my model here is like literally the mannequin, the NPC mannequin. I've had this for since high school actually. A friend gifted it to me, but I it's supposed to be for reference for post references, but it's like too stiff to actually use as an art reference. But anyway, it's useful now to use as my model, and it's fitting because it's the model used for NPCs in the animation show. But anyways, I went with the spiral pattern here on this right side because I like how it curved. I feel like it would attach better that it's diagonally. I learned this spiral pattern from like crafting a rose, a paper rose from when I was a kid. So yeah, I just really like how it looks floral, how you can make a flower out of a flat paper. So yeah, that's what I took inspiration from. And then this is where I actually started the costume with the mask. As you can see, paper is really my main material here, usually, because I don't know, I don't know, I just have a lot of paper as an artist, but I do digital, do amazing digital, but I do a digital art these days, so I just have some extra sketch pads laying around, and I use some pages to make Gangle's mask. I mean, it's a simple like fold up origami. It's I don't know if we would call it origami because it's like folded in the corners to use the shape and then just taped it. I laminated the whole thing with packing tape, so it's like glossy and water resistant. Also like cardboard thick. I don't know if anyone would be interested on a pattern. I mean, it's pretty simple that it's like folded. I usually just fold the edges rather than cutting. It's just cleaner to fold than cutting them. I have the eye holes on in the middle of the two eyes. And then for the teardrops, they're actually earrings, ear hoops that are just poked in somewhere in the cheek area. And then I covered the dangling parts with more paper, with colored paper. So you'll see like when I move my head around it, the teardrops actually dangle. For the comedy mask, the reason why there's like weird cuts in the side of the mask is because I wanted it to be like wearable on my face, but it just covered my vision a lot more than the tragedy mask already has. So I just ditched the idea. But if I were to improve this, if I have better materials, I would use like something thicker and then have magnets on the mask so I could just put two at the time and then the happy mask could just break off and be more accurate. But yeah, with this it it just didn't line up the way I wanted to, so I just ditched the idea and now I just have the happy mask as props I'll hold. So moving on to the main part, the main dress. I'm sure everyone is curious. This dress is actually a surplus. I got it from a garage sale for very, very cheap. Like, and it's size medium or large, I think. And my body is extra small, so it really, really works for me that I could use all this fabric for, and I just had enough fabric for just one costume. So yeah, this material is uh too soft for my idea for the spiral thing. So what I did, I washed the whole thing with glue and water, like mixed together. And I'm so glad it actually worked out because I know in like paper mache when you put glue and stuff, the material hardens. So I tried that as an experimental on the cloth and it actually turned out perfectly. Like the cloth actually stiffened on the way I wanted it to be. I mean, there's like little splotches at the edges, but generally it's not that noticeable. So, and then I cut it up, pretty simple pattern, just long strips with like the V cuts in in the edges, the tips of the ribbons. But since I just made it, I'm just using like recycled dress. It's kind of I kind of have to like reattach and extend things. If I were to have like better materials like from scratch, I would have used like, well, for one, silkier, like silky material, and the pattern would be like one long strip. But this is what I'm working with, and I'm pretty okay with that. For the length of the pattern, for the legs it should be like toe toe to maybe hip or upper thigh length. And then for the arms there's actually just one very long strip that goes from the tip of one arm across the back, and then goes to the other end of the other fingertip. That's how it's just one long strip of ribbon. And then maybe some allowance too, so that because you have to sew it inside out. And you also have to consider that when you fold your limbs, it takes extra fabric. Here's what it looked like when the turned inside out, and then I steam ironed them flat. Oh, one thing I forgot. I think I lost the pictures already, but like this other material, it was like styrofoam tubes. Not I don't think they were styro, but it's like foam tubes to fill in inside the ribbons. And I also got it from garage sale, the same place I got the red dress from. I used the foam to like put inside the ribbon, the strips, so that it would look stiffer. But if I were to improve this, I would use like flat foam that's like that I could fill the whole strips with, so it would look fuller. You know what I mean? Uh, Here's what it looks like um, on the pants. So I just sewed it on a pair of leggings. There, it's only like in 3 points. The hemline around the ankles. So yeah, I would like just fall off the feet, and then the knee, the knee joint. And this important part personally, to put the knee joint outside the bending part, because like so that when you bend your leg, it doesn't stretch out the rest of the fabric, and it gives that illusion that like it's like a puppet that's not completely following the physical body. You know what I mean? And then the third point is the upper thigh or hip. Oh, here's the foam thing I was talking about that I used for the inside of the skirt, and also like the other ribbons. So this is the arm parts attached to the black long sleeve jacket that I have. So you can see here I only stitched the wrist part, the elbow. Again, the elbow is like outside of the joint rather than under it, so that when you and with the foam inside, so that the foam inside like curves it, so that when you bend your arms, it doesn't like follow it completely. It's just it curves like the ribbons in the show, the animation. And then it's across the back. Then the same goes on the other side. Yeah, if I were to improve this, I wanted it to be like floating on the back, but yeah, the materials are limited, so it's just resting on my back there. So now for the skirt part. So yeah, here's the spiral part. Again, I just reused a dress, so it's not a perfect circle. Like if I were to improve this, I would make it just one circular thing back to back and then sew it inside out, but not close it just yet. See how the pattern actually forms the rows I was talking about? So so cool. So yeah, the spiral, and then I steam iron so it flattens. So I did a lot of steam ironing on this, not gonna lie. I guess that's just part of sewing. That's why my sewing game really improved when I learned that I have to actually steam iron every time, so that the fabric would actually be flat and the sewing would be cleaner. I don't know. I was just lazy before. That's why my stitching was a mess. But now I really had to steam iron it every time. Oh yeah, so for the dress part, I actually split it into two halves. The upper half doesn't need any filling. I just wrapped it around the top part here. I'll show later in the video how I wrap this around my body. Especially, you can see here my jacket is has a zipper in the front, so I can't exactly close off the wrappings. And I just use safety pins to keep them in place. the lower skirt part is a separate thing, and here's the picture sewing the foam in place. I don't really like how it's kind of ruffled in the lower half because the foam is just tubes. But I don't know. I mean, it's just a personal preference. Like I would want it to be flat, like the actual ribbons, if I were to have better materials. But I mean, it also kind of worked out because like Gangle cosplayers, I see they usually use like Lolita frilly dresses to cosplay Gangle, and I do like that interpretation. So having a little bit of wrinkled frills on my skirt kind of works like that. It's not that bad. And here comes the illusion part. Okay, so I based the style of like a hoop skirt, and I just have long strips of black cloth, and then attach them to like four sides of the spiral, so it has that illusion of being uh, coiled and holds together. The reason why it's suddenly like a different place because I was actually rushing this costume. I was working on this costume the week before a convention I wanted to cosplay Gangle at. I was literally sewing inside a moving car, and this and I finished it inside in my sister's house. That's yeah, that's why the background is suddenly different. But hey, I made it on time. And here's what it looked like put it all together. The hoop skirt kind of makes the illusion of floating, and then I was just wearing black clothes, black fitted clothes inside. There's what it looked in the back, and for to attach the skirt onto the rest of the costume, I have these magnet buttons to snap on to the rest of the spiral. Let's just move on to the video so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is my room. I'm not really. I think this is the first time I've done like a landscape format. My TikToks are usually vertical, but I thought for this it's a long form video. It has to go to the landscape format. But my background is not. My room is not really set up for the landscape. But anyways, Gangle cosplay. Gangle. So I already wore the legs. I already have the legs on. And then let's see. Hold on. Oh, this is safe. As you can see here. I usually have black socks, like all black for cosplay, but I don't have them right now. So yeah, I just sewed up the legs, and there's like a little foam in here. I don't have enough of the foam, that's why but it's just the legs, so I'm fine with that. I just sew up this ankle part, the knees part. That's what I meant, because if I put this over in the middle, it would like stretch and pull this side. So it's important that I put the knees part on this side, so that when I fold it, it's like separate to the actual body part, you know? And then, so yeah, the illusion really works. Like, especially if you have like a black background that blends with this part. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. And then, this is kind of a flop, but like, if I were to have better materials, I would like fill this whole thing with foam that's like flexible enough. The rest of the costume, and it's just paper, so it's like, I mean, it's flexible, but it deforms the longer age. Yeah, this is my sadness. This is what I'm talking about. The teardrops are actually just earrings, so that they're a little dangly, and that's fun. And then the eye holes are somewhere here in this area. These are eye holes, and I just have little black cloth so I could see through a little bit. It's hard to see, but at least blah, blah, blah. at least you have vision. And then the wrap around the head is just like an actual red ribbon. And then yeah, it's just paper and tape. And then put this aside for now. Then we have the happy mask, comedy mask. It's also just paper that I cut up. And you can see that this is where I intentionally wanted to put the eye holes, but I covered it up because it didn't really work out. It didn't align the way I wanted it to. But hey, I still have props at least. But yeah, if I were to improve this, I would put like magnets somewhere here so I could just snap it on the tragedy mask. So this is the jacket. As you can see, it's the zipper is on the front. Well, it's hard to see, but like this is the arms. It's just one long thing from one arm across the back and then up to the other end. And these are like the little, they look like little claws, little lobster claws, or crab. They look like crab claws. That's so cute. And they have like the tube foam things inside that I just put. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's what I got. If anyone would recreate like a better version of this, I would love to see it. Please, please do better than me. Let me just put this on. So yeah, oh yeah, the jacket was initially like this long across the wrist, but I have these. This part is from another sleeves, like detachable sleeves. And I just sewed the black part to extend it so it would cover my hands. Okay, so here you can see, before I close this up, I do want to point out, see what I'm talking about. I just sewed up only these points, the wrist part, the hand part, the fingertip part. So, and then the elbows, again, it's outside of the actual joint, so that when I bend it, it will like, it's supposed to curve up, but I guess the foam also like got folded in the storage. It's supposed to like bend around rather than following the actual joints. So it would look more ribbon like. Yeah, this side looks better. So yeah, curves up. And yeah, it would pull a little bit when you bend, so it's important to have like some allowance. And then here's the thing, this part zips the front. There we go. And then yeah, this is why I can't really close this off, because it blocks the zipper. But like, this is how I wear it. And then I would put safety pins here and here somewhere. And then this part cuts off here. I would also put like safety pins here. But for the sake of this demonstration, let's just get to the skirt. Ta-da! Okay, this is the skirt. The best part of the costume, because look at this. Like, I felt so big brain when I thought of this. Like, it's a hoop skirt, like floating ribbons. Yeah. There's like strips of black ropes that attach to one side, 4 sides of this. And then yeah, it's not perfect. I wish it would like be flatter, but this is what I got. It's still, I mean, it still looks nice. Not just, I mean, you guys love it, right? And this is what I'm talking about. There's magnets in here, like snap-on magnets. Just pick. So yeah, that's the magnets, and this is like the belt part. It's like a belt that I put around it. So if I were to put a safety pin here, this other end would be, oh, there we go. So it would like go like this. Snap on, snap on. There we go. And then I would put and then I would safety pin it actually right here to cover the underside of the buttons. Safety pin here, so it would look like it continues on from that, and it spirals down. Then skirt pin. And then I put on the mask. You already saw the TikToks in that, so I'm not gonna wear that here. It's just a simple mask to put on this space. And then that's my Gangle. That's how it's so cosplaying is fun. I love cosplay. I love making costumes. And so yeah, that's how I did my Gangle. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that my explanation made sense. If you were to make your own based on this, I would love to see it. Please tag me. I would love to see it. Thank you, Glitch Productions and Gooseworx, for this amazing digital circus show. I've made friends with this fandom, and especially just cosplaying this one character and having so much fun. As Kinger once said, no matter what happens, I'll always